Hey folks, welcome to the first video for Warriors Pro Wrestling. Glad you are watching. Just before I start, I want to make sure to remind you, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching again. So, here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to embrace my passion for pro wrestling like I do for junior hockey every Tuesday. And I wanted to do some videos on YouTube for you guys to talk about wrestling, and for those wrestling fans who do listen to the podcast, who also are wrestling fans, I wanted to give you something else to watch. So this is I'm not gonna lie, I was inspired by What Culture Wrestling, a very popular wrestling YouTube channel. I think they do great work, and I think they have some great content. So I wanted to try and produce some of my own content inspired by them. So you're gonna see a lot of how WWE should have booked and how WWE should book. For me, that's what I really like looking at. I like looking at how things maybe could have been done differently or more interesting, and especially when it comes to guys and their push, and guys who could have been pushed more by the company, and how the company maybe failed or screwed up or missed an opportunity with booking a certain guy. So this is our first video, so I'm going to start with how WWE should have booked. And the one I'm going to start with today, I'm going to do a few of these about guys whose push didn't go as it should have. And I mean, I know recently there's been a lot of guys. I mean, the Wyatt family is probably going to be, if I get requests, I'm probably going to get the Wyatts a lot. I know that. I'm still thinking about how to rebook the Wyatts. I know I'm going to do Kofi Kingston in 2009 and his push after his feud with Orton. I'm going to look at Drew McIntyre's basically entire career in the WWE. But today, I'm going to look at Cesaro. Cesaro after WrestleMania 30, when he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and was paired the night after with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, the greatest talker in the WWE today, bar none. And maybe one of the best talkers of all time. So, with a guy who's so good in the ring like Cesaro, and, you know, he's not the best talker. I think we can all recognize that. He's not the best, he's not the most outgoing personality on the roster. But if you put him with a guy like Paul Heyman, surely the talent of Cesaro and the mic work of Heyman should create a superstar, right? Well, not really. The partnership kind of faded, and it only lasted like a few weeks, and then Heyman moved on, and Cesaro moved on, and it seemed so promising with such a good wrestler and a good talker, and they never seemed to really have faith in it or really move forward with it. So I am going to try and do it better. Here's how I would have booked it. First of all, winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal should be a prestigious accomplishment, and it starts with how you book the winner. So I think you need to book the winner into a significant storyline that doesn't revolve around the Battle Royal, because it shouldn't be a guarantee world title reign. That's not what it should be. That's not what it should feel like. Like, this guy who wins is going to be a world champion, and you know that. But it should feel like this is a launching platform. This is a way to give a new guy, or a returning guy, a big boost and a great way to start off a good push. So I think after the first one, fans don't know what to expect from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. They don't know what they're going to get. They don't know how he's going to be pushed. So I think you need to come out the night after with Paul Heyman with Cesaro. I think that's a great thing. I think that partnership is great. Cesaro is great in the ring. Paul Heyman is great on the mic. So here's what I would do. I would say that Heyman comes out and he starts telling the world that Cesaro is a future world champion. He proclaims him as a future world champion, as a good advocate would do. But he doesn't say he's going for the world title now. He says that after winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, Cesaro is in line for a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, which at that time, the night after WrestleMania 30, WrestleMania 30, The Miz defeated Wade Barrett for the Intercontinental Championship. The night after, the Raw after WrestleMania 30, Wade Barrett won the title back from The Miz. We don't do that. We don't do that. I don't like The Miz, and I don't like Wade Barrett, but fine. We'll keep those two in the Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania 30. The Miz wins. The Miz is the Intercontinental Champion. So, at Extreme Rules, The Miz is the Intercontinental Champion. Still, he doesn't lose it the night after on Raw. The Authority grants Cesaro his shot at the Intercontinental title for winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. However, Wade Barrett has his rematch clause, and he invokes that at Extreme Rules as well. So it's a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Cesaro wins the title. He pins The Miz, or Wade Barrett. It doesn't really matter, but whatever. Cesaro is the Intercontinental Champion. Over the next 3 months, Cesaro defends the Intercontinental Championship. Battleground, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam. Sorry, Money in the Bank, Battleground, SummerSlam. That's the order. Cesaro, billed by Paul Heyman as a heel. He's going to be a heel for this. Hopefully, I mean, I know the fans like to cheer and for good wrestlers, especially if Paul Heyman's there. But hopefully you can build him as a heel. You can get him over as a heel. Faces like Jack Swagger, Rob Van Dam, Dolph Ziggler, who at the time were in contention for those mid-card titles, each time they challenge him over those 3 months, over those 3 pay-per-views, Money in the Bank, Battleground, SummerSlam, he wins. Cesaro wins, retains the title. Now, it's at SummerSlam that Brock Lesnar came back and became the World Heavyweight Champion. So, the night after SummerSlam, Heyman continues to proclaim Cesaro a future World Heavyweight Champion. He proclaims him a World Champion contender. However, they become faces after Cesaro is attacked and challenged by Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. There's no Lesnar right now. Heyman and Cesaro in the ring, and they get attacked, and Cesaro gets attacked by the Wyatt family. That officially makes them faces, because Cesaro's probably going to be getting cheered by now because it's him and he's good in the ring, and Heyman is great on the mic, and Lesnar is also with them. So Wyatt and Cesaro at the next pay-per-view, which is Night of Champions. Sorry, I just had to look down and make sure that I had that right. Night of Champions. Wyatt versus Cesaro at Night of Champions for the Intercontinental Championship. That match happens. At Night of Champions, Cesaro is attacked by Ronan Harper before the match, so he's weakened. He then loses the Intercontinental Championship to Bray Wyatt. This I think is a great way. I mean, Bray Wyatt, his character is so over. Fans want him to be a world title contender, but at this point, he was losing to Chris Jericho. So I think you need to give him something. I don't have him lose to Chris Jericho as a side note. He beats Chris Jericho. I thought that one was obvious. Now, after Night of Champions, still at Night of Champions, Wyatt takes the Intercontinental Championship. He's Intercontinental Champion. That gives Wyatt something. That gives him a storyline. That gives him something. Because WWE has not given him anything yet. So, he is now the Intercontinental Champion. After the match, Heyman is, he's not happy. He's not happy. Oh, by the way, before this match, in the build-up to this match, Cesaro is also starting to get a bit annoyed. He's getting annoyed at Paul Heyman. That Paul Heyman keeps saying he's a world title contender, but he brought back Lesnar. Lesnar came back and won the title. And Cesaro didn't even get a shot. Cesaro didn't even get the number one contender match. Cesaro thinks, I'm supposed to be a future world champion and I can't even get a shot? I'm not even allowed to leave the mid-card? You don't say, mid-card. That's a insider term. WWE won't say that on the main roster, on TV. But you have Cesaro start getting annoyed that he's in this position. So at Night of Champions, Cesaro loses the Intercontinental title, and he's beaten down by the Wyatt family, and he is taken out, and his title's taken, and the Wyatts leave him in the middle of the ring. He's down, he's out. Heyman looks just not happy. Heyman is disgusted that his client would take such a beating. He motions to the back. Out comes Brock Lesnar. Lesnar at Night of Champions was defending the World Heavyweight Championship against John Cena in Cena's rematch. So Cesaro is in the ring. He's down. Lesnar comes in the ring after Heyman whispers something to him. Lesnar gets in the ring and he F5 Cesaro. Heyman and Lesnar walk off. They are done with Cesaro. Cesaro's been kicked out. Later in the night, as actually happened, Seth Rollins interfered in the match between Cena and Lesnar. That eventually set up the Triple Threat at Royal Rumble. We don't have that. It was a great match. I don't want to discount the Triple Threat at the Royal Rumble. It was an incredible match, but it doesn't really fit for me. So, here's what happens. Instead of Seth Rollins coming in and hitting Cena with the briefcase and causing a disqualification, it's Cesaro. But Cesaro doesn't attack Cena, he attacks Lesnar. Cesaro takes down Lesnar, causes the disqualification. You can still do that disqualification, but it's not Rollins, it's Cesaro. So Cesaro attacks Lesnar, and he walks off. At Hell in a Cell, it's in real life. I know wrestling's not real, but go with me. In actuality, it was Cena versus Orton in a Hell in a Cell to determine the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight title and to Brock Lesnar. We don't do that. We have Cesaro versus Cena in a Hell in a Cell match. Randy Orton can go do something else. But we have Cesaro and John Cena for the #1 contender spot. Cesaro wins. I know that may be hopeful. Let me dream. Cesaro wins. Cena defeated Orton, by the way, to get into the match with Cesaro. That's how Cena got in over Orton. That's why Orton's not in the match. At Survivor Series, the next pay-per-view, it is Cesaro against Randy Orton. Cesaro, you need to have that face versus heel match, so you have Cesaro versus Orton at Survivor Series. At this time, Orton had been kicked out. I believe he was starting to get injured, but you try and stretch Orton out a bit more. So you stretch him out to Survivor Series, and the stipulation is that Cesaro puts his title shot on the line, but if Orton loses, he's out of the Authority. He's gone. They kick him out. So they don't kick him out before Survivor Series. They keep him. They keep him in the Authority, but he faces Cesaro, and if he loses, he's out. He loses. He gets kicked out of the Authority. The Authority beats him down just like they did in real life. So Orton's gone. Orton's out of the Authority. You can have him recover from his injuries and then return for WrestleMania and have that match with Rollins where he hit one of the greatest RKOs ever. So, later that night, none of that affects the main event, that Team Cena versus the Authority tag match. Sting's debut, which was awesome. I mean, don't tell people about it online. Don't let it get out, because then everybody knows. But it was still awesome. It was sweet. I don't change anything about that. That was good. That doesn't affect the Sting debut, but that is another storyline. And oh, by the way, the Authority goes away in my world, in my dream world. The Authority actually goes away for more than 5 minutes. But that's another storyline that I'll tell you about another day. So, the next night, Seth Rollins comes out and he tells Cesaro to put his title shot on the line. And he needs to get the Authority back in power. He needs to restore the Authority. But he needs to have the World Heavyweight title to do that. He challenges Cesaro to put his title shot on the line, his Royal Rumble title shot against Lesnar on the line, at tables, ladders, and chairs. Cesaro agrees, but on one stipulation, that Rollins has to put something on the line as well. No, not his Money in the Bank briefcase. We're going to keep Seth the Money in the Bank holder. But what we do is we have Cesaro say, I'll put my title shot on the line, but if I win, you are out of the Royal Rumble match. Because then, Cesaro feels he's going to be champion. He wants one less top contender to deal with. They agree. Cesaro at TLC defeats Rollins. Rollins is out of the Royal Rumble. No Royal Rumble for Seth Rollins. So, at the Royal Rumble, we get to the Rumble. John Cena is facing Seth Rollins. If Cena loses, the Authority is rehired. It's a bit quick, I know, but with Rollins not being in the Rumble, I wanted to give him a big profile match, and I have something, and that fits into another storyline, which I will talk about another day, about Sting's debut and how they should have done that, and the end of the Authority. Anyway, Cena loses to Seth after Triple H interferes, costs Cena the match, helps Seth beat him down, the Authority beat him down, and again, I'll talk about that another day a bit more. So we get to Cesaro and Lesnar. Cesaro beats Lesnar and becomes the world champion. And then finally, this might be the easiest booking decision I ever made. I have ever done for any of the How WWE Should books that I will do. This is probably the easiest decision I'll ever have to make. Daniel Bryan wins the Rumble match. He wins the Rumble and is headed to the main event of WrestleMania 31 to reclaim his World Heavyweight Championship. Cesaro hits. Then we get to Fastlane. We get to Fastlane, and it's the rematch. Cesaro defeats Lesnar again after the ref is taken out. The ref gets taken out, and Roman Reigns spears Lesnar. Cesaro hits Lesnar with a neutralizer and picks up the win. That sets up the Reigns-Lesnar confrontation at WrestleMania 31 without the title on the line. Neither have the title. That sets up that match. Now, here is what goes on at WrestleMania 31. This is what is set up. Sting fights Triple H. You can have all the NWO and DX shenanigans, but the control of Monday Night Raw is on the line. Sting wins. Again, another storyline for another day. Roman Reigns faces Lesnar. You have that match. Randy Orton faces Seth Rollins. Have that match, as actually happened. John Cena defeats Rusev to be the United States champion. That's fine. That was good. And the main event of WrestleMania, internet fans, prepare yourselves. Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro for the World Heavyweight Championship. You have all the makings, the talent, the potential for one of the greatest technical masterpieces of all time. One of the greatest technical matches of all time. Two of the greatest wrestlers on the WWE roster. But you know what? I can't deny the greatest cash-in of all time. No. We keep Seth cashing in. Seth cashes in on Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. Now, we don't have Seth hit Daniel Bryan with a curb stomp. We make sure that doesn't happen because Daniel will die. But Seth cashes in, Seth leaves with the title, and that sets up, even if Daniel Bryan's hurt, even if Daniel Bryan has to leave with injury, that still sets up a long feud, Seth and Cesaro for the title. What a match that would be. What a match Cesaro and Daniel Bryan could have at WrestleMania with the title on the line, and then you have Seth Rollins cash in. That is how I would have done it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video if you liked it. I am Spencer Seymour. Thank you for joining us today, and I will see you next week for more of Warriors Junior Hockey and Warriors Pro Wrestling. Thanks for watching, folks. Like, share, and subscribe.